On Fridays, I started hitting the art market downtown with people from my design firm. We'd walk through the vendor stalls drinking overpriced coffee, and I'd buy these little paintings or handmade jewelry that I definitely didn't need. My apartment was filling up with stuff that had nothing to do with Leo. Things I picked because I liked them, not because they reminded me of some shared memory. My coworker Caleb invited me to his birthday party, and I went even though I barely knew anyone there. I ended up talking to his roommate about graphic novels for like an hour, and when I got home I realized I'd had actual fun without checking my phone once to see if Leo texted. The weird part was it did feel like freedom, but also like I was betraying something. Every time I laughed at a joke Leo hadn't heard or made plans he wasn't part of, there was this small guilty feeling in my chest. Like I was supposed to save all my good moments for him even though that made no sense. I'd been building my whole life around being Leo and Julia since I was 5, and now I was just Julia, and I didn't know if that was growth or loss or both. 3 months into long distance, my phone rang at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, which was weird because Leo and I had stopped calling unless we scheduled it. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. He was crying so hard I could barely understand him at first. He kept saying he felt stuck and invisible, like his life was on pause and nothing he did mattered. I sat on my bed holding the phone trying to figure out what to say while he talked about how his job was fine and his apartment was fine and everything was fine, but he felt like he was disappearing. He admitted he only took the engineering position because it was close enough to visit me on weekends, not because it was actually what he wanted for his career. He said he'd been making choices based on what would keep him near me since we were kids, and now he didn't even know what he wanted anymore. I asked him what he would want if I wasn't in the picture, and he went quiet for so long I thought the call dropped. Then he said he didn't know how to want things for himself because needing me had always felt like the only thing that mattered. I realized we'd both been doing the same thing, making decisions out of fear instead of desire. I'd taken my job partly because it was far enough away to prove I could exist without him. He'd taken his job to stay close enough to keep me. We were both so scared of losing each other that we'd stopped building actual lives. After we hung up, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling thinking about how loving someone shouldn't mean putting your whole life on hold, but somehow that's exactly what we'd done. 6 months after graduation, we had the breakup conversation over video chat. Leo's face on my laptop screen looked tired and sad, and I probably looked the same. We'd been dancing around it for weeks, the calls getting shorter and more awkward until we were basically strangers who used to know everything about each other. He said maybe we rushed into romance when we should have just stayed friends. I agreed, even though hearing the words out loud felt like something breaking in my chest. We talked about how we'd gone from best friends to couple without figuring out how to be both, how we'd assumed our history meant we could skip steps, but that's not how it works. Leo said he needed time to figure out who he was without me, and I said I needed the same thing. We decided on a real break with no contact for a while. Not the fake kind where you still text every day pretending you're giving space. When we hung up, I closed my laptop and sat there for a minute just breathing. Then I started crying and couldn't stop. I cried so hard my roommate knocked on my door asking if I was okay, and I couldn't even answer. I cried until my face was swollen and my throat hurt and my chest ached. Losing Leo felt like losing a piece of myself, like cutting off a limb I'd had since I was 5 years old. I'd spent more of my life with him than without him, and now I had to figure out how to be a whole person.